Coming up next, I'll tell you the hottest job cities in America and the clear path to meaningful work explained. We'll take your calls and your chat questions, and it all starts right now. I am coming to you live from Ramsey Solutions Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. We are talking about working on purpose. When you're working on purpose, you're living on purpose. There is a direct relationship between your work and your life. Work is not just a utilitarian function that you do to live. We believe that you live to work. In other words, you were created to contribute. That's why we all long to make a difference in this world. This is what unifies us all around the globe. We all have this desire, this small voice that longs to be answered. Why am I here? What should I do with my life? And that's because we want to make a difference in the lives of others. So you're in a place right here on YouTube where we're not looking at silly videos. We're not yelling and screaming and angry and trying to do shocking things. We're talking about significance in your work. Showing up on Monday morning, fired up, excited to head home each day because you have done something that matters deeply to you because of the results you've created. Life is too short to live for the weekend, to just live a dead-end job and collect a paycheck. So we're here for you. For those of you who know what the dream is and you're just saying, hey, Ken, how do I get promoted? How do I move up the ladder? Well, this show is for you as well. So all of us together pursuing that unique role that we were created to fill. Someone out there needs us to be our best version. So this pursuit of purpose isn't about us, it's about others. Welcome, one and all. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. You can jump in 2 hours. We go from our YouTube show right into our nationally syndicated radio show and Sirius XM show. We also podcast the show daily, so you're welcome to call in. If you're watching on demand, you can get us from 12 to 2 Eastern Time, 844-747-2577. All right, let's start the show off. Great report here from Forbes. I love these surveys and the data they put out there. This is pretty fascinating for some of you who are willing to move. So what are the hottest cities, regions as well, as it relates to forecasted job growth in 2021? Manpower Group conducted an employment outlook survey, and this is from a Forbes article, and they got the plans of employers in America's 100 most populated metropolitan areas. And so do a quick regional rundown here. So after they adjust all the forecasts for layoffs, holidays, slow times of hiring, the Midwest is the region that has the highest adjusted net employment outlook of 2021. 20% employment growth, or 20% adding jobs. The rest of the country not far behind. The South has 17%. This is a net number, basically based on their job, on the jobs they will add. The Northeast at 16%, and then the West at 15%. So all pretty good. But here are the cities, okay? These are the cities, and again, that percentage is based on the employment outlook. Grand Rapids, Michigan, and El Paso, Texas tied with a 34% net employment outlook. Winston-Salem, North Carolina claims number 2 spot at 31%. And then just below Winston-Salem is Des Moines, Iowa. So we've got Grand Rapids, Michigan, El Paso, Texas, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Des Moines, Iowa. But the top spot is Cape Coral, Florida. 42% employment outlook. All of the close proximity to the Gulf Coast beaches, and major cities like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and this is obviously the leisure and hospitality industry, which is expecting stronger labor markets in the first quarter. I hope that's true, depending on what happens with the vaccine and then just the overall herd immunity and new administration as consumers and governors get confident. You're going to see an explosion in hiring in the sectors of hospitality. I know that affects so many of you folks out there. So very interesting stuff there. Those are the cities to be looking at. So we'll see what happens. And if you're willing to move, now's the time. Now is the time. What you see when you see the pandemic, which we've never seen before, but you see how it affects the job market so radically, so quickly. And then we saw extreme unemployment, and then we saw it get back down. And it's not bad. We're in the mid sixes right now, which in the grand scheme of things, all things being equal, you choose the phrase, that's not too bad. And that's good news. And remember, we still have nationally a suppressed leisure and hospitality industry when we talk about bars and restaurants with the COVID restrictions. And then, of course, your theme parks, your airline industries, hotels, people not traveling, that's an issue. So you're going to see a spike, and that is good news. So good stuff there from Forbes. And again, folks, look, you can go one of two ways on this deal, on the unrest and COVID and new administration, all that stuff. You can either throw your hands in the air and go, I can't do anything at all about it, and I'm just being blown in the wind. Or you could be optimistic and say, hey, there are some things I can do. There are some things I can control, starting with my attitude and then my effort. And I'm going to get after it. And, small businesses are going to just throw their hands in the air. People are going to do what they got to do to survive. And so I think we're going to see a lot of good job growth. And this is the year, coming out of this thing. This is the year to say, you know what, I'm never again going to be put in a situation professionally where I feel stuck and regret not making moves. Make the moves this year. And we're going to be here with you the entire time. 844-747-2577. You have to forgive me. I'm still struggling with allergies, and I think the voice shall hold up. We are going to pray that it does. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Christine, who is joining us in Kansas City. Christine, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thanks so much for taking my call.
You bet. How can I help?
Yeah, so I've read your book and applied the principles. So basically, I'm seeking some affirmation and perspective from you. I'm trying to go to physical therapy school, and it is very well known for people going into lots of debt. So over the past 5 years, I've actually very prayerfully worked towards this goal because I knew it was going to be very hard and very expensive. During that time, I paid off my undergraduate loans, the $60,000 I had of that, as well as cash flowing the 9 prerequisite course I needed, 3 GRE tests to go, 1 CLEP test, 3 application fee cycles. And actually in 2018, I actually turned down a private school acceptance because it was very expensive.
Wow.
And so after my second time applying, I finally got accepted to our cheapest state school here in Kansas. And so while I was really excited for that, I'm also super nervous to take this risk and jump into this because I am afraid of going into debt again. I have explored and researched over these 5 years very intensively, and I've mapped out kind of 20 scholarships that I can apply for over the course of the 3 years I would be in school. Mm-hmm. The problem with it is that a lot of them require you to be in school for a year, or, their timelines aren't quite right. So I do have a lot of really good options, but again, it's a risk and an unknown, right? And so while I feel very encouraged because I actually already got a $2,500 scholarship, which would pay for half of my first semester, I'm just so nervous to leave this comfort that I have and this debt-freedness that I have and make this move and go, even though I've been working so hard for the past 5 years. I'm very passionate, right, about it. So I feel like it's what I'm supposed to do, and I feel the Lord has called me to this, but I'm also trying to be smart, right? So
Well, let me ask you a
guess I'm
question. I just don't
Yeah.
understand. It sounds like to me that you've got a plan to cash flow
Yeah.
your way through this.
Well, kind of. So technically, I can't work during PT school. So they say my plan is to obviously work, but during the fall and spring semesters, it's 100% full time. So 8 to 5, you go to school every day. It's 20 credit hours. It's pretty much like medical school without the perks, right?
Right.
And you go to school through the summer as well. So those are only about 10 credit hours or so. So I feel like I could do some type of job, but it wouldn't be a job that is paying what I'm getting paid right now. It would
Right.
be
But
more
again,
like
how
a
much money?
part-time
How
job.
much money do you have saved up for the first year?
I do not have anything saved to go. That's the problem. Because
Okay.
I was,
So for the last 5
Yeah.
years, this journey you were describing for me is meaning you got
Yep.
debt free.
yes.
Okay. So how much
Yep.
money do you need? What's
Yep.
the total bill? Let's not
Yep.
take scholarships right now, but what's the total bill for the
Yep.
for the PT school?
Yeah. So with fees and everything, tuition, it's 60 grand for all 3 years. So about 20 grand a year. And that's just tuition, fees, and the schooling.
Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
how much, what do you think you can do from a scholarship standpoint?
So right now, the options that I have, a really great one that I'd love to get. It's about $25,000 award, and you can win it up to 3 times a year with a service agreement where you go work in California for an underserved population for at least a year for that $25,000. So if I got it for 3 years, obviously I have to go work there for 3 years. So that's my very first choice, but that's the only big one.
All right, hold on a second.
Before I
Hold
would
on.
even
I
start.
got to stay with you because you know way more about this than I do. So that's
Yeah,
good.
sorry.
So I'm a little so that's 25,000. So that would take care of
Yeah.
a year.
Yes, it would.
But do
Mhm.
you have to work for them afterwards? Is that what you're saying? After the
Yeah.
3 years are done, you'd have to put in 3 years of service.
Yeah, 1 year for that 25,000. So if I got it for 3 years, it would be 3 years service.
Okay, I see. But there's no guarantee of getting it for 3 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a great option.
Right.
I just here's the point
Mm-hmm.
that I need to make, and you've already made it for yourself. No, I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you should go into debt for it. I think that you
Mhm.
should. You've been working so hard for it, and
Mm-hmm.
between the scholarship and some other things, getting after it a little bit. I mean, I think that you should. I mean, I can't tell you to go into debt. You know that. I just don't think
Right.
it's
Yeah,
worth
absolutely.
it. It's just not worth it because it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
a big giant rock hanging around your neck when you're done. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like you've got a little bit more time. How much are you making in your day job right now?
About 53,000 a
Are
year.
you double income, single income? What's your relationship status?
Just me. Yep, single.
Okay, so how long have you been debt free?
I just paid off in June of this year. Not very long.
Congratulations. Do you have your emergency
thank you.
fund?
So that's what I'm funding right now, and that's the other thing I really was trying to decide, should I, put all that money towards school or should I put it towards my emergency fund? It would make more sense to have that emergency fund ready in case something does happen if I do end up going
You
to
just
school.
answered your own question. Yeah, I would get
Yep.
it fully funded. Are you going to do 3 months or 6 months?
About 3.
Yeah, so you should be close to having
Yep.
that funded, right?
Yep, I am. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so once you get that in place,
Mhm.
then I think you start saving aggressively,
Mm-hmm.
really aggressively, towards, and if it were me, I would go for the first year, the 25, get your first year funded. So
Right.
if you can get that with that group, and then if you're okay doing that, going to work for
Yep.
them in California, I would
Yep.
I'd try to at least do the first year that way. Then
Mm-hmm.
we only have to come up with 40,000.
Yeah.
And I think between other scholarships and everything else, and maybe you got 2 years taken care
Yep.
of. That's how I would go about it. Because do you feel
Okay.
pretty confident you can score the $25,000 scholarship?
Well, I'd like to say yes. It's literally everything I want to do with my life. So I feel like it's a perfect fit for me. But, I just don't want to be too confident.
No.
and then
But
get-
what I'm saying is like you qualify for it. Like there's
Yeah,
enough.
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I would go for it. And you know what I would do? I'd tell them, hey, are you willing to do all 3 years? with them,
Right.
coming out and just serving the underserved and getting after it, and then you got the rest of your life to do whatever you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, then I'd tell them that. I'd cast the vision. I'd go all in and go, hey,
Okay.
this is what I want to do, but I would not go into debt. I think if you can get a year, I think the discipline that you've created, it's just
Yep.
you. I mean,
Yep.
even if you work 2 jobs for another 12 months,
Yeah.
think about what you could do,
Right.
even if you only do 1 year. So I would hang in a little bit longer. It's going to be worth it. Don't change course. Stay the course. It's going to be worth it. That's what I think.
Okay.
And you got this, and I'm really, really proud of you. Love your heart. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Boston, Massachusetts next. Seth is on the line. Seth, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How you doing today?
Seth, I'm living the dream. What's going on?
Well, I feel like I'm between a rock, a hard place with a wrecking ball hanging over my head.
Uh-oh. What does that mean?
I'm not sure if it's so much a bad problem, but I currently work at a pretty good job. I'm very comfortable here. The owner is a friend of mine. This is actually the 3rd time I've worked for this company. I kind of chased the greener grass a few times and have been asked back a few times. So here I am. And then I have another friend of mine who is offering me another job in a completely different field. And I can pretty much set my own parameters for that job. If I decide to move anywhere on the East Coast, I could go with me. But it's very unstructured. It's kind of starting up this new avenue of his business. So I'm struggling with, I want to be there with my family and have the family time. I'm struggling with letting friends down. And on top of that, my wife is asking me about moving out to South Dakota. So
Okay, so hold on a second. Which job allows you to have more family time? Because you just mentioned family. Is it A, the one you're in, or B, the new one?
currently A, the one I'm in.
Okay.
In job B, I was told that I could set my own parameters, so I could pretty much, only work, say, 50 hours a week if I wanted to, and then that would be it. But knowing the industry and knowing how it works, it's generally never that way.
Yeah.
You're always asked, well, could you do this? Could you do that? And you're on call a lot more.
Yeah. Okay. And then we got the South Dakota factor. The wife is going, hey, I want to go to South Dakota. Can you stay in your current job in South Dakota?
No, I cannot.
So we have three options, A, B, and C.
Correct. And option C, moving out to South Dakota, I would say that I do not have a very good resume because I've never had to look for a job. I've always had people ask me to work for them, and I've worked in almost every field you can imagine.
Yeah.
Everything from...
Let's pause all this stuff about South Dakota until we figure out where this all sits. So before you called into the show, which way was your heart leaning? A, B, or C?
I wake up every morning, and it's different every day.
Okay, what was it today?
Today, it was staying at job A. It would be more of a struggle because I have to have a side hustle to make ends meet. But I think it would allow me a little bit more family time. Mm-hmm. And then if we did decide in the future to move South Dakota, it's not as big a deal, I guess.
Okay. And over the last 10 days, you put me in the situation to ask this question, so you got to be really honest with me.
Okay.
Over the last 10 days, which has been the biggest heart choice every morning? If it is indeed a different answer each morning, which one has had the most heart votes, A, B, or C, over the last 10 days?
Probably lately I've been leaning towards C, kind of wiping the slate clean and starting over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting. So if you were guaranteed to get something in South Dakota, making what you are now or more, or you guys lower your cost of living, I'm guessing, because you're in the Boston area. So feels like to me that's the winner. That's what the heart's saying. Like, hey, that would be a fun start. It's family. I could start over there. We lower our expenses. I mean, is that where you're leaning? Is that what you're thinking, rather, when you think of C?
That's what I'm thinking. That's where I'm somewhat leaning. However, my wife will only move out there if some of her other family moves out there.
Oh, geez. Now this thing's getting even more. This is crazy. So let's see. C's not on the table, man. So why? So look, C's not an option anymore. Option C, South Dakota, is not an option. Not until we have confirmed movement there. Like the family members are going, and it's like this big thing. So I don't know why we're considering something that's not very realistic. Or are you not telling me the rest of the story that there are several family members that are willing to move too? I mean, how serious is this?
I have some of her family members have already applied for jobs, and a few others are traveling out there at the end of the month to take a look at the area and talk to real estate people.
Okay. Here's my advice, because none of this is centering around work that you love. That's what I'm focusing on. I think you can find work that you love out in South Dakota, and if the wife and the whole family, and that's where your heart's leaning, that's why I'm going towards the South Dakota strategy. So, I guess you got to start playing it out. I guess you got to start applying and start looking. And it doesn't seem like to me that you should consider going to work for the other friend, option B, which is the East Coast job where you're traveling all the time and all these hours. I just think I don't hear any heartstrings towards that decision at all, and that's okay. So I think it is, we'll go sit tight at A, where you are in your day job, and you're going to go get a second job if you feel like you need a little extra money in the meantime. But you and your wife are talking to all these other family members are going, if we're doing this, we're doing this. And if she's got to consider working or whatever she's got to do to help with the transition, you guys have got to get on the same page and say, this new life in South Dakota, we're all in on this. And so I'm going to start applying, and if I've got to make a couple trips out there, but I would not worry about disappointing the friend for option B to say, hey, you know what? It's not the right time. It's not where we're going. And I think that, again, you got to go with your heart. You got to go with your heart, and I would encourage you to be looking for sweet spot opportunities where you're using what you do best to do work you love that will create results that matter to you. Or else you're going to move out there with the family, and you're going to do it for the wife, and you're going to be in a dead-end job. And after all this warm and fuzzy stuff of the family wears off, you might start to resent your wife and all these family members if you're not doing something that you really are passionate about. There's no getting around this. But yeah, I'd get serious about it. I'd get real serious about it. It occurs to me, Joe, I don't have it right here in front of me. What's the relocation? What's our, I want to tell him about that. Mattis, let's make sure he gets that relocation guide, that Ramsey relocation guide. We've got this for folks who are considering moving. And a move is a terrifying proposition for a lot of people. Oh, there it is. Text the word relocation to 33789. Thank you, guys. Nathan, great job. This is for anybody like Seth. You're thinking about moving, and we've got a wonderful free guide here. Text the word relocation to 33789, and we have a checklist that walks you through everything you need to think about. And it takes a lot of the unknown and thus a lot of the anxiety out of considering a move, much less actually making the move. So great resource there. Text relocation to 33789. All right, let's go. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do a very quick break. When we come back, we got Momentum Monday and our Career Checkup Challenge. And for you new folks, going to review the clear path to meaningful work. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
Our world is changing, but so are we. Now, we see a smile through someone's eyes. We conquer our struggles and cherish each moment because we're shielded through faith and assured by hope. And greatest of all, we love. The world is different, but so are we.
Welcome back to Ken Coleman Show, coming to you live from Ramsey Solution Studios in Nashville. Thrilled to have you with us. 844-747-2577. Okay, this is the week. We've been talking about this. Wednesday, January 13th, on my official Ken Coleman community on Facebook. We've got the 7-day career checkup challenge. It's free, and all you got to do is go over to the official Ken Coleman community on Facebook and just click join and show up on Wednesday, January 13th, and begin to take part in this free 7-day career checkup challenge. It's going to help you just take inventory of where you are in your career, where you want to be, where you are, what are the gaps, and we're going to walk you through that. And if you're where you want to be, but you've got some friends or family who need this, tell them to head on over there to our official Ken Coleman community on Facebook. All right, it's Monday, and on Monday, we love to give you updates. And Joe, we are ready for Momentum Monday, sir. All right, Ben emails into the show, ask@kencoleman.com. Hey, Ken, for the past 2.5 weeks, I've been struggling with how to leverage my golden handcuffs type of job to launch into my sweet spot. In the past weekend, it finally dawned on me. I now have a plan to work my side hustle on the evenings and weekends for the next 3 to 5 years while I continue working a job that is almost in my sweet spot, but just missing out on the mission because I have a plan. I no longer feel trapped by a job I don't get the juice from. I love it, Ben. Great stuff there. Catherine writes in, let's see. I spoke with you back in 2018 and was questioning whether to take a new job with a pay cut. You told me to trust my instincts, take the job, and that the money would follow. I'm happy to report that I took the job and was just promoted to a senior position this week. I received a full merit increase after 6 months on the job and a bonus after a year, which put me over my yearly salary from my prior job. Just want to thank you for the encouragement. Way to go, Kate. That feels good, doesn't it? Always feels good to step out and see it pay off. Let's see. I don't see a name on this one. Oh, here we go. Nate. I had an interview earlier in November with a company. Moments after the interview, I sent a thank you email to the panel, thanking them for giving me the opportunity to interview for the position. Weeks went by. I didn't hear anything until today, and I got the job. I start my new career this week. So good. That is so fun. He's all excited. He's got a picture here in front of the reception desk. So that's fun. If you would like to send your momentum update, you can email us, ask@kencoleman.com. You could also submit it to me on Instagram @KenColeman. And you need to be following me on Instagram anyway. We're doing some fun stuff over there. So congratulations to all three of those folks. And again, Momentum Monday, just these little progression stories that encourage our viewers and listeners. So again, if you want to submit them, just put Momentum Monday in the subject line. You can do that on Instagram. You can DM me @KenColeman or send an email, ask@kencoleman.com. All right, let's go to the chat room. Nadi writes in, how do I find the balance between productivity and rest? Now, we get this question a lot. And productivity comes down to being very, very, very clear with you and your leader, both of you together, going, okay, here's what I'm responsible for. Here's what I'm supposed to do. Here are the results that I'm supposed to produce. And you're productive. Now, you getting rest has a lot to do with boundaries. And again, you look at how many hours you have during the week. How many hours a week are you working? If you're working 40 hours a week, you should be getting rest. If you're working 50 hours a week, you should be still getting some rest. Anything above 50, we got to have a real conversation about what's going on here. Is this a short-term situation where we're burning the midnight oil? Because that happens from time to time. But if this is a weekly rhythm, then something's off. So productivity and rest can coexist. Even if you're burning 50 hours a week, or every once in a while 60. Turn the TV off. Make sure you're still getting in bed at a decent hour. Weekends, make sure you're resting properly on the weekends. Make sure your exercise and nutrition is a part of this deal. But again, anything over 50 hours, on a regular basis, I mean, you can say 45 or more. I mean, there needs to be clear communication about what the expectations are and why and what that looks like. Jackie writes in, how do we adapt the proximity principle in the time of COVID? Well, we get this question throughout, and there is digital proximity, The idea of proximity as it relates to COVID and not being able to be in close physical proximity, you don't really lose the principle there, because again, we saw people go home and do all their meetings through Zoom. So can you still be in contact with people, even though you may not be having lunch with them or coffee? The answer is yes. So don't overthink this. Proximity as it relates to COVID is simply, okay, I still got to connect. So how am I connecting with other people in other areas of my life? Family members. If it's not professional, it doesn't matter. You're still connecting. And so proximity is about being top of mind as well. And again, reaching out to people, staying in touch with them, giving them reason to think about you and keep you top of mind. That can all happen even with social distancing. So don't overthink it. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. Okay, so we're off and running into 2021. We have new people joining the program all the time. And it occurred to me today, I just said, you know what? I want to do just a few minutes unveiling and briefly teaching on the clear path to meaningful work. Now let's just describe meaningful work. What do I mean by that? Meaningful work, meaning that I care deeply about the work. I love the work, the task itself, the role. I love it. That's what meaningful work is. Part A. I got to love the work. I enjoy the work, regardless of the notoriety or compensation. I just love the work. So is it writing? Is it organizing? Is it leading? Is it designing? Is it creating? What is that work that you love? That's the first part. The second part is that work itself, as all work does, it produces a result. So when I'm toiling, I am also creating. And so you must also care deeply about the result of the work. So I love the work, and then the result of the work matters to me. I want to see more of that in this world. That's how I define meaningful work. It matters to me, and I see how it matters to others, and that really matters to me. So I love the work, and the result has personal value to it. That's how we define meaningful work. And you could essentially say, is that the dream job? Yes. I mean, the dream job comes with compensation and perks and all kinds of things, environment, everything else. But meaningful work is really the goal. And the dream job should be defined by meaningful work. So what's the path? Ken, how do I get there? I'll never forget the day I had been toying with this for a while, working on it, going, I want to be able to give the audience a very clear path. When you start a show like this, like we did in 2017, things evolve and develop as I'm on the phone now with thousands and thousands of you. And so I'm learning as you're learning, and I'm learning as I'm guiding you, and I'm learning as I'm teaching you. And so I've been walking through, okay, I know how to get there. I did it. I mean, this whole thing that I do comes from my journey. But I wanted to be able to say it in a way that was really simple and easy to understand and follow. And I couldn't get there. I wasn't there yet. I knew it was going to take a little bit of time. And so one day I'm on the beach, one of my favorite places in the world, 30A. And I sat down with a moleskin and a pencil, much like I have here on my desk. One of my favorite things to do. It's just a very simple lined notebook and a pencil. And I went to the beach early. It was probably about 7:45 a.m. Had a cup of coffee. My kids and wife were still asleep back at the beach home. And I sat down, and the sea breeze, the cool morning breeze, it was just lovely. I sat under the umbrella, and I said to myself, all right, Ken, if you could gather every 17-year-old young man in the world and sit with them and knee to knee, almost talk to young Ken Coleman, and you were to talk to these young men and you were to say, here's the simple path on how you find and do meaningful work. How simple would you make it? What would you do? So I began to write, and this is what I wrote. Get clear, get qualified, get connected, get started, get promoted, get your dream job. It was later that we came up with the seventh and final stage, which is really where we all want to be. When we're in that dream job, we don't just go ahead and check out and shut it down and go, hey, I got here. What's left? No, we actually expand the dream, expand the vision. And it's about legacy, leaving a legacy, which is about giving yourself away. You work strictly for the result. It's about creating more and more of those results that drove you to the top of the mountain. So the 7 stages, I gave them to you quickly. I'll give them to you again, and what you're doing in these stages so that you understand what it looks like, where you are on the journey, and as those of you are calling in, hey, what stage are you in? What do we got to do to get you to the next stage? It's very much like a climb to the top of Mount Everest. Stage 1 is get clear. This is where, again, you are identifying what your actual sweet spot is, where you are supposed to contribute, your contribution zone. And it's where you can use what you do best, your talent, to do work you love, your passion, to produce results that matter deeply to you, mission. Talent, passion, mission. You use what you do best to do what you love to produce results that matter. When those 3 gifts that you have, your talent, passion, mission, come together and align, they point right to an area that I call the sweet spot, and it's where there are multiple jobs and career paths for you. So that's get clear. Now, once we're clear what we want to do, now we go, okay, what's the price of admission? How do I get the ticket to do that? That leads us to stage 2, get qualified. And again, here's what you're doing in stage 2, get qualified. You're simply learning and doing what you need to be able to get the opportunity to step in, step up. And so while you are learning and doing, you are also equally in stage 3. So you walk into stage 2, get qualified, and you can be in stage 3 at the same time, because while you're getting qualified, you should be and can be getting connected. And this is where I wrote the book, The Proximity Principle. It's the #1 bestseller. You can get it at my website right now. All 3 formats, one price, $25. Unbelievable. But connections, relationships, are the currency of progress. So I wrote an entire book on the proximity principle, which says in order to do what you want to do, all you got to do is get around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. So people plus places equals opportunity. And so you can be in stage 2 and 3, get qualified and get connected at the same time. Now, as we're getting qualified and we get qualified and we've been getting connected, now we're ready to step into stage 4, which is get started. That's entry level, or if it's a career switch, whatever. You're getting in. Now we're on the ladder. Think of this now as I've stepped on the ladder, and we're actually ready to start to climb. We got to crush that first rung. We got to do well there. Start the right way, and then that will lead us. Now that we're in stage 4, which is so important. So many people just don't start. Once we've started, we're off and running. Now we're quickly moving into stage 5, which is get promoted. There are 3 things you must do: know your role, accept your role, maximize your role. There are qualities that you can develop. I'll teach more on that later this week. This idea of getting promoted, there are things you can be and do in this stage. And as you get promoted, you'll keep getting promoted and keep getting promoted. So now think of that ladder analogy again, and we're climbing the rungs. And we get to the point where eventually we climb into the dream job stage 6. When you're in that dream job, now it's about, okay, I've worked so hard to get here. I want to keep growing. I want to keep learning. And I'm going to expand the vision. And now I'm working like no one else. And I'm automatically in stage 7, which is giving yourself away. You show up to work. It's not about money or notoriety. That's all come with the deal. That's enough money and enough notoriety. It comes with the dream job. Trust me. It's enough. And you realize it's not about notoriety or money or power or fame. You go, oh man, I dig this. I dig these results. This is life-giving. And then you realize, hey, I want to expand this. I want to grow my imprint. I want to expand the vision to be able to maximize my contribution. And that's why you're in stage 7, give yourself away. So get clear, get qualified, get connected, get started, get promoted, get the dream job, give yourself away. What stage are you on? Each stage is important. You can't skip one. You're going to have to walk through them. But it is doable, and it is worth it. My time is almost up. But before I let you go, I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.